John, can you make duplicates of me right now? Can you make clones? Is that
Look it out of the frame. Here you go. It's the all right, that was long enough. That was the Jared triplets. Guys, we made it through another year. It's been all of 2023. As of recording this, today is December 18th. We're doing it. It's almost the sweet, sweet holiday seasons. It's been a year. There's been a lot of things. I personally would like to say that I'm grateful for this year because it's the year that we started this whole thing.
That's so true. Me too.
Here we are. Yeah.
That's right. I'm grateful for you boys. Just wanted to say
Me too.
Before we got into anything.
Santa, put me on your nice list. Anyways.
That certainly isn't happening. Yeah, it's been a long year. And we were just gonna go through and chat about all of the things that have happened this year in the world of our favorite game.
Yes.
But before we get into that, quick little upkeep. If you're watching this video, that means you're probably on our YouTube channel, and there's gonna be a button very close by that says subscribe. And there's also a little bell. If you want to hit any of those, that'd be amazing. That tells the robots that you like us and that we should be on your screen more often. Means a lot to us to do that. So we love interaction. We'll probably jump in and comment back if you give us a comment. We like doing that.
No one will counterspell your subscribe.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is a special action. The only thing faster than morph is subscribe.
Yes.
Put that on a t-shirt.
I'm saying. So that's all the YouTube stuff. We have a Discord page that's also linked somewhere here. John just pointed to it. There's a Discord page. That's where all the action happens. Let's be real. This is all just an offshoot of the Discord page.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a part of all of the real stuff, all of the deep nitty gritty, posting deck lists and getting suggestions. And I was up at 2 a.m. last night feeding my daughter, sending deck list suggestions to someone who's looking to build a reanimator deck.
We're just out here helping the homies.
So if you want to hear from me at unreasonable hours of the morning, jump on our Discord page. And then I stream sometimes. There's a Twitch page as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we do some streaming. We've got a video coming out pretty soon that's me playing some Timeless, which is a new arena thing. So we don't have to talk about that here. We can talk about that later. That's all of the things. That's us. That's the MTG Thoughtcast. Once again, I'm Joseph. That's Jared. That's John. Let's talk about 2023. Take us away, John.
Bam. Let's do it. So the year has been a quite full one as far as the product that's come out this year. Any notes from like anything from you two in specific? Or like how do you feel as a whole? How do you think this year was with Magic collectively?
I think for Magic, this was a good year for them. I think for the umbrella company that Magic is part of, it was not. True. But strictly Magic speaking, I think there was a lot of great stuff that came out this year. I mean, we had the sets Beyond really take off in a way that is totally new and really cool. I know I thoroughly enjoyed the sets Beyond stuff. We even made
Universes Beyond.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, the universe.
A bit. I'm sure that we'll go on a nice little Lord of the Rings rabbit trail at some point.
Yeah, I think that's like my highlight of the year is probably the Lord of the Rings, like crossing over into, and also Dungeons and Dragons. Like I forgot that happened.
I don't think that was this year.
Oh, was that the end of last year?
That was not this year. Yeah, correct.
Dude, I did the same thing. I was blending last year because I was so excited to talk about Brothers War. But that was last year, wasn't it?
Oh my god.
That was Brothers War was the last set last year.
I'm saying, dude, it's...
What if we... So, all right, let's talk about how we feel about the set before we actually talk about it, and then we'll see if our opinions match when we're done.
I like it.
Yeah. So I think the set was great. I am thinking of the Lord of the Rings when I say that. And yeah, this year was really good for Magic.
Nice. I don't want to beat the dead horse of product fatigue because we all feel it. Every one of us. there's just so much to keep up with. It was the toughest year to try and keep up with product, I think. But also like I actually do understand why they do it. It's also, I'm a big fan of Mark Rosewater as a person. He's the lead designer of Magic. The example he always uses is we want this game to be a buffet where like you don't have to get everything at the buffet. Like there's something at the buffet for everybody. You can just come to the buffet and get what you like and then leave. Like you don't have to keep going back. So that to me is kind of the counterpoint to the product fatigue thing. And in the same way, I was like, there's so many things this year that were that I loved, and there's also a lot of things that I just did not care about. Yeah. So like, on the whole, I think that's a good year. There's so many things that have come out that have gotten me more excited about the game this year than in previous years. Yeah. So I'm feeling great. I would say that I am deeper into the deep end than I was at this point last year, which is, I like it.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, there was a plethora of different pack styles and assorted like forms of purchasing, right? Like there's lots of different outlets to purchase. We had just like has been the last couple previous years, an over excessive amount of like commander decks ready to go. We've had several varieties of reprint sets plus new sets. As Jared, you had mentioned, the first time this year was the full Universes Beyond, like a full booster release package, all that jazz, So it's been a big year of firsts, and this year was this is the 30th anniversary of the game as well. So obviously some stuff was done quite large and over the top.
That didn't happen this year, did it?
That is this year, I believe.
The 30th anniversary stuff?
Well, that rolls, if we're interested to just kind of get started with our list proper, that rolls right into our first booster product of this year, Dominaria Remastered. Came out January 13th. So this set was publicized as obviously as the first one of this year. It was publicized as one of the big like celebration events of this year. A real 30th anniversary booster product. We're not gonna talk about.
What are you talking about? It was the only 30th anniversary product.
So this was the first one of this year. Full reprint set, spanning a variety of different cards and themes from the 30-year history of the game, centralizing around its main hub of the multiverse, pretty much, the plane of Dominaria. Yeah. Thoughts?
I didn't love this set.
To be honest, I completely forgot this came out this year, and I can't think of, like, there's no thoughts in my head about it.
Empty head, yeah.
Yeah. As far as reprint sets go, I'm a big fan of the Masters sets. So like when they did Modern Masters and Commander Masters and some of the other ones. But in recent years, Dominaria Remastered was the first one of the reprint sets that I feel very similarly about the Ravnica Remastered that's about to come out, which is like, man, you guys are just cash grabbing here. Like this is a greatest hits that no one really asked for.
Yeah, and it's such a shame because Time Spiral Remastered was phenomenal. That was a great set. It
was so good.
Yeah, and it just feels like with something like this one as well, they just kind of tried to capitalize on that a lot because the block of Time Spiral was Dominaria centered as well. And you can actually see that with this reprint set as well, that a lot of the cards from all rarities, common up to mythic, there's a bunch of Time Spiral in here as well from those sets. They pulled from older product as well, but that unfortunately was just a side effect of its time. Is like a reprint set like this, it's clear what cards were designed 25 years ago. You know what I mean? Totally. It was not a powerful play set.
This is, I think I opened exactly one pack of this and pulled the, like, Leviathan that when it enters, you have to return all of your own creatures to your hand. And I was like, I'm done with this set.
Oh,
this is awful. There was not one card in all the 15 cards in the pack that I was like, I'm not going to use a single one of these.
Those are not playable cards anymore.
No. So it was mega nostalgia for something that I'm not nostalgic for.
Yeah, it's not that it didn't have its good hits. I'm actually a prime example of that. Like other weekend, other week I got a collector
pack.
Yeah, a foil Time Stretch and a Borderless Force of Will was in my pack. So it's not that there isn't good things in here. It's just as you always tend to claim about Joseph, it's always lifted up by its mythics.
Oh my God. This was so propped up by the mythics. And even some of the mythics weren't like that great.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
like,
right.
You had Force of Will, you had Vampiric Tutor. Like there was some actually good reprints, but when they're reprinted at Mythic, it's just not meaningful.
Yeah.
So like Force of Will is still just as expensive as it was. I don't think it's dropped at all.
It's about $40 now, actually.
It's better. Like it's
That's
still though like
where it was when I bought it a few months ago.
Right.
So it's pretty much consistent.
So I feel like the set was fine.
Yeah. I have to be inclined to say it was mid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially as we're about to head into the next few.
Yeah.
All right. So let's keep rolling on in. So that was in January. Nothing else super notable was during that time stretch here. We move on into February 10th, the first standard product of the year, Phyrexia, All Will Be One.
Yes. So good.
So the first standard booster release of this year, showcasing the current state of the home world for the Phyrexia, or the colonized home world of the Phyrexians. Setting them up to showcase like what sort of antagonistic threat the Phyrexians are going to end up being. Because if you two either keeping along with the story at this point as well, since the end of War of the Spark, over the last couple sets, they've been tease dropping the Phyrexian Predators coming back into the main story. Vorinclex Monstrous Raider was one of the first instances of that, but Kaldheim released in 2021. This set, and then the standard set that we'll be talking about after this one, is the culmination of those stories. Phyrexia showcased a strike force of Planeswalkers attempting to just invade directly into the heart of Phyrexia themselves, and clearly that did not work out super well.
Yeah, I felt like the story kind of fell apart at the end. Like, they kind of teased this whole thing, and then it was like, okay, it's just whatever the last send. It was just Gatewatch again. Like, I think as far as a set goes, this was a killer set.
Yeah,
this one was great. Like, in what I count like all rarities when I'm thinking of like how is a set. Like, if there are uncommons in a set that I'm like seeking after, I'm like, oh man, this is an unbelievable set. And this one had Ossification is one of my favorite removal spells.
It's a great card
in the last little bit.
That is a pretty good one.
As well as Tyvar's Stand at uncommon too.
I'm not super familiar with that card.
X in a green, a creature gets hexproof and indestructible and plus X.
That's sick.
6. So you can do like X equals 0 and it's a protection spell.
Nice.
I thought that Skrelv, another one of my favorite cards this year.
Skrelv is great.
Big fan of Skrelv. And then maybe I also would love, once we're done with this, would love to talk about what we all think the card of the year is. I think it's a pretty clear winner in my books, but I think in contention is Atraxa.
Oh.
Which was Atraxa Grand Unifier was the set.
It's a very interesting card, that one. Yeah, kind of has, over the months since it has been released, it's been talked about quite frequently on the comparison of best reanimator ?
100%.
Because
with Grizzlebrand.
Yeah, I was going to say, for a very long time, Grizzlebrand was kind of the one. There was almost no reason to animate anything else, aside from like combo synergies. Totally. Atraxa just kind of does more for you.
Wow.
Yeah, they fill different roles, but it is just one of the coolest cards they've printed. Like, picking one of every. Also, it was they teased battles on Atraxa. They're like, because it takes one of each card type, and it mentioned battles, and they had not printed any. They had not talked about battles.
Oh, you're right.
So it's just like, this is a new card type. Get ready for
crazy.
It could come whenever.
The speculation around that for the 3-ish months between Phyrexia and March of the Machine was like, what's a battle? What does it do?
Yeah, this whole Phyrexia arc was sick, but
yeah, I loved this set.
Same.
I just like when they just go hard on, like, I think even though this game is a trading card game and it doesn't necessarily need lore or a story to drive it forward, they could just print cards and we would still buy them and play them. I think it's awesome when Wizards actually focuses on the story they're telling, and the lore is like also good in the gameplay. Like, and I think that set delivered on all those fronts.
Totally.
So that to me makes it very fun to dig into and play when those all kind of like are cohesive and lined up. And this set did that for me.
Totally. Love it.
I don't know. I would say some personal favorites for me. I really love what they did with the Phyrexian Planeswalkers in that set. Honestly, it was a really cool thing. Yeah. There was the set of 5 that all had the Phyrexian, or maybe it was 6. I don't know. Maybe it was 5. I'm not sure. There was 5 of them. At least a lot of them had the Phyrexian versions of them, and then there was like the non-Phyrexian one. Honestly, I think all the Planeswalkers of that set were actually very huge hits. You know, you had like the Phyrexian ones like Jace and Vraska and Nahiri even as well, like some of them. Like some of those had some fantastic abilities on them. But then even like the non-Phyrexian ones at Rare, like the Eternal Wanderer is awesome. It's one of my favorite Planeswalkers. The Eternal Wanderer is great. Tyvar Jubilant Brawler as well. He's super. And the Kaya as well is also very good standouts. Nice. So I don't know. It just kind of subtly was like a small Planeswalker set as well, and all of them were great hits.
Yeah.
And as Commander folk as well, who always love our do this thing, do it again. The Cycle of Dominuses were also just phenomenal.
The Dominus cycle was in this set too.
Mr. Mono Red over here, Sulfum
tokens. Yeah.
Yeah, this set had it all.
It was very so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to harp on it again and again and again, but this was an unbelievable set.
Yeah, it could be in the top like 3 sets of the year, I think. Easily the best one. I guess maybe we should pick our favorite set of the year after we get done talking about them all.
Whoa.
All right.
We can.
Well, if we need to get to that, then we should carry on then.
100%.
In the month of March as well, we're going to cover these briefly as well. There was a banner restricted announcement during the month of March as well. Expressive Iteration and White Plume Adventurer were banned in Legacy.
Yes, makes sense. Expressive Iteration is one of the best draw spells that they've printed in a very long time.
In my head, Expressive Iteration is a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Is it?
Look at that card and tell me it's not a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
It kind of looks like it.
It's a great card,
yeah.
though.
It is genuinely so good.
Yeah. And that's part of what I mean. Yu-Gi-Oh cards are broken. So
if you're playing a blue-red deck in like Commander, where this is still legal, you should be playing Expressive Iteration. Yeah. It's slap.
I've got one in Myra. It's very good.
White Plume Adventurer, I'm a huge fan of. I guess there was a legacy deck that was really good with running initiative and dungeons. So 3 mana to kind of get in there and do some dungeons was too much.
It was a lot. Yep. So breezing past though, real fast though. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's move on to our next booster product, which was April 21st, the March of the Machine.
Yes. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
I would this is probably going to be my standout set of the year personally, right? Because I've made it no secret to show that I'm a pop culture boy. So a big world-ending multiverse crisis hero team-up thing is
you love an Avengers moment.
I love an Avengers moment. Avengers Assemble. Here we go. So, March of the Machine, the big story conclusion event set of the year, spanning dozens of planes across the multiverse in the all-out war between the Phyrexians and the resistance of the multiverse.
It was a slapper.
It's a very good set.
Super, super good. Honestly,
so
go
ahead.
All the like anything to do with Phyrexia this year, those sets all kind of popped off.
Yep.
Except for the Aftermath set.
We'll talk about that in a second.
We're getting there. Don't worry.
But this is not the Aftermath set, and it's awesome.
Yes. So, as far as an actual like full set release, this one was amazing.
Put up some hitters.
Yeah,
I'd like
I'm pulling up the hitters.
But so notable. Yeah, so some real quick things about this set. Firstly, if you two either probably do or do not remember, this was one of the first sets we covered here with our channel.
True.
Remember?
Our memory lane.
Our first episode was about battles.
That's true. It was a battles episode.
Oh my gosh.
Just go back and watch that one and then come back here and see how far we've come.
Dude, we're doing so much.
Since
We have
April.
improved so much, yes. But on that note as well, yes, battles were introduced in this set as well. A brand new permanent type that came in with its own, basically little like subset of rules on how you interacted with them as game pieces. They essentially act as like permanents that come in with extra little counters on them that you try to remove those counters off, and you get a benefit on the backside if you defeat it.
Yep. Yeah, and you give it to an opponent to defend. And you say, I'm going to come after this battle, defend it with your life.
Yeah.
It's cool. I thought that the battles were sick. There's a few, like Battle for Zendikar, I thought that's the one that has seen the most play to me. I see that one all the time on Arena. That one has been a mainstay in the domain decks in Standard and in Explorer and all those. So Battle for Zendikar, slamming. The red one that does discard a card, draw 2. Battle for Mercadia.
The Oracle strikes.
He does. Yeah, I thought the battles were sick. It's funny that we haven't seen them again.
Yeah.
Since
Not yet,
right.
yeah.
This was April of this year when we first saw battles, and they were just like, here you go, never again.
What the heck?
Especially going into Lord of the Rings, which we'll talk about, which was like Battle for Helm's Deep would have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like,
Wizards, what the heck?
for real. I get it though. Like when they're trying something new, I think this was actually a lot of wisdom on Wizards' part to go, we're just gonna give them a little taste of it and see if they want it. And if they want it, then like we'll still want this next year. But if they had just started flooding every set with battles, we would have been like, please stop. I don't want these anymore. These are, and then the power creep would have shown up. Like I think
they learned from last year where they like just dumped every planeswalker in the universe in
100%
game, and
they're
then we were like,
people don't want 32 planeswalkers in one set.
I think I'd even like to say like a counter up on you as well as like from the last time, not necessarily a whole new permanent type as a whole, but like especially from back in the one that comes to mind especially is the Kaladesh block when they introduced vehicles for the first time. That got flooded way too hard, and some of them, as we've seen with stuff like Smuggler's Copter, things got pushed a little too hard too fast, and they dialed that back. Vehicles have since become deciduous, but as you see, they've only really introduced like there's maybe 1 or 2 in a set. So introducing a new game style element takes precaution because this is something that they have fumbled with before. Even years ago when equipment was first introduced, Mirrodin block was a disaster.
It was a lot. Yeah.
oh my gosh.
So March of the Machine, I would say again, was another great set this year.
Yes.
Some of the absolute hitters from it. So we had the flip parade, the Praetors. So this was like the
creatures on their front side, sagas on their back
on the
side.
back. Breach the Multiverse, an unbelievable card.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Love Breach the Multiverse. City on Fire.
Oh, I love that card so much. I like tripling everything.
This is a man that loves tripling things.
That's a good one, yeah.
What else do we have in this set? Oh, this was the Multiverse Legends was in this pack as well.
Yes, I was just about to talk about that as well. Yes, alongside the main booster set itself, this was one of those sets that contained a bonus sheet that every single pack that you opened contained an extra, not necessarily standard legal one to play, but an extra draftable, playable Multiverse Legends slot.
Yeah. And those actually helped tank the prices and things. So like Ragavans went way down once it was reprinted in here. Yeah, those were. You could also get the original Atraxa in these packs.
Yeah, the original Atraxa, Ragavan, the original Praetors were part of that as well. So the original Elish Norn, the original Shieldred, stuff like that. I have a few cards here. I have a few cards as well. Atali, Primal Conqueror.
Yeah, that was my next.
Absolutely slapping.
Slapping, double tapping, no napping.
Yes.
Yeah, that card rips.
Yep. Again, one of the better reanimator targets. Or if you can cheat it into play, like all of a sudden you just get, especially in Commander, like you're gonna get like 4 free spells.
I think that's my favorite card in that set.
Nice.
Yeah.
Atali? Yeah.
I again talking about uncommons, Surge of Salvation has found its way into every white deck that I play.
Can you read that one off?
Yes, I'm going to try to remember it. It's got a lot of text on it, but I'm going to try. Okay, so it's
I'm gonna quiz you.
mana at an instant that gives you and permanents you control hexproof. And if a black or a red source would deal damage, it gets prevented.
What?
To you. And permanents you control?
The Oracle gave you the green light.
It's just it essentially in white is a 1 mana counter spell that has upside sometimes.
That's
if
awesome.
Somebody's playing black or red, which they probably are.
Wow.
So,
I somehow missed that card.
So good.
Wow.
It's like if you're playing any type of like a creature based white deck, it just like slaps right in there.
Mm-hmm.
Since I'm never playing those kinds of decks, but yeah.
I remember I got a good one from that set as well. Kami of Whispered Hopes was also an uncommon in that set as well. Yeah, freaking Hardened Scales on a Mana Dork is
Hardened
absurd.
Scales and Gyre Sage in one card.
Dude.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. 2 and a green. I think it starts as a 2/2. If a counter would be placed on a permanent, it gets added many +1, and then it itself produces 1 mana of any color equal to the amount of 1/1 counters on it, or I think equal to its power. So
it starts as a 1/1 and it taps to equal to its power.
Yeah, so if you put counters on itself, it'll start expediting its own counters. But then if you're putting counters on anything else, it also just acts as Hardened Scales.
Yep,
it's super.
When did Ozolith the Shattered Spire come out?
That was also this set.
Yeah, this set was just totally off the wall. It was crazy good.
Hey, question. Why is cycling on that card? Does anybody know why they put cycling on that card?
Wait, cycling is on Ozolith
cycling.
Shattered?
Yep. Cycling is...
Are you
cycling is deciduous now. Cycling is deciduous now, so they can just kind of plunk it wherever. And
just real quick before we go on, deciduous.
Deciduous?
Deciduous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like got all this text, and at the very bottom it says cycling too.
If you're ever cycling Shattered Spire, you should just scoop, because we're gonna win that game.
Oh my god.
I have a couple more quick notes about the set before we move on to the next one. This one was considered one of the big Commander release products of the year. So along with March of the Machine, there were 5 pre-con decks that came out with this set, which all included Plane Chase as well, which is notable with these decks. I just recently acquired all those Plane Chase cards from the March of the Machine set as well. They are super.
Love it. Your average Plane Chase enjoyer, Chad, John.
Average Plane Chase enjoyer, yes. And also, just before this set came out as well, they made sure to publicize it that with this set being obviously draftable on Arena, Ragavan Nimble Pilfer was pre-banned for Historic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But he is legal in Timeless now, which is so fun.
Speaking of bans, we can move into our
good segue.
Yes, let's move on to our next one. Yeah, so in the middle of about May-ish, this was announced at MagicCon Minneapolis that along with a BNR update, the standard rotation changed as well to a 3-year standard rotation. You remember that? So this fall would have seen the rotation of stuff like Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, the Innistrad sets, some of that other stuff as well, but that changed. So those are not rotating until this upcoming fall season now.
3 more years of Shieldred.
I know they've been trying to make standard a healthier format that people actually want to play. How do you guys feel if they've accomplished that so far?
You're asking the wrong person. I'm not a standard player.
I'm not a standard player either. If you're a standard player, drop in the comments or join our Discord and tell us what your experience has been like playing.
Plug.
Because I don't want to muddy the water with an uneducated opinion on standard. But
So they attempted to fix it a little bit by banning Fable, the Mirror Breaker, Invoke Despair, and Reckoner. Yeah, Rankle. It's Rankle's Bankbuster. Reckoner Bankbuster.
All good bans.
Yeah, very good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed playing Fable, the Mirror Breaker a little bit in Commander. It's a really cool card.
It's a great one. Love it. All right, moving on.
All right. March of the Machine Aftermath. Oh boy, here we are.
I have such a soft spot for this set. If I may take the lead on this one,
Yeah, please
because
do.
I have the unpopular opinion that I actually really enjoyed this set. It was refreshing to have. It was not enough. I think that the concept of the set should have been its own full set, but I like what they tried. I've gone on record saying that when I buy a 15 card booster pack, it functionally is a 5 card booster pack for me anyway.
Yeah.
Like there's very few commons that I care about when I'm not drafting, at least. So like, I love that they, for once, were like, okay, we're not designing this set for a draft environment. We're actually going to just like inject good like design into cards and not have to care about whether it warps a limited environment in the same way that it would warp a constructed environment.
Yeah.
Also, like, I can't sing the praises of Nahiri's Resolve enough this year. Like, you've heard me talk about it over and over and over. Nahiri's Resolve is probably my favorite card that came out this year.
Wow.
I love it so much. It inspired me to make an entire deck just around it.
That's true.
The more that you look through, like, every card in Aftermath is good somewhere. Like, they actually looked and, like, where are their gaps in things and designed, like, very, very cool cards around it. The release of it sucked. The booster pack experience of it sucks. Like, it is overall not good. But like, every time that I go back and I'm like, oh, I'm like looking for something cool, I'm like, oh, there was this one card from Aftermath that just fits this so well. Like, I've been working on a Bant graveyard deck.
Yes.
And I came across Cosmic Rebirth.
Oh yeah, that card's great.
So sick. And I'm like, oh, this just exists because they just decided to put it in Aftermath. So I'm a big fan of Aftermath. There's literally dozens of us.
Yeah.
John, how do you feel about Aftermath?
You hit a very good strides on that as well. Yeah, I agree. Like, the not necessarily anything negative against the actual card quality itself as well. Like, there was some very nice and very interesting fun that we did a whole episode about it as well, right? Like, all of us found fantastic hits throughout the set itself. I agree across all of your notes. The cards had some very fun and interesting designs to them, but its actual just release function was just awful.
Yeah.
Like, I still sit here and tell you, like, for a fact that my own local card store still has packs of these for $7 each.
Yeah,
which is
it was way
ridiculous
too expensive for what it was.
I'm pretty sure our LGS also has some Aftermath.
They
still.
do.
And,
everybody does.
I was trying to
collectors of this set, still also pushing like $22 a pack for 6 cards.
Yeah, that's too much.
That's unacceptable. But the cards
also
themselves
propped up by the mythics. I mean, you have the Nissa Ascended Animist.
That card is dumb.
It's so good. It's so good. Ixalis, the Kingpin.
It's true.
Fire. All of these things are so sick.
Alex,
sickest cards, worst release of the year.
Yeah. What were you saying, John?
Calyx for me. That was it.
Oh yeah. I was at a card shop the other day and just striking up a conversation with a person I'd never met before, and he was talking about building a Sithis deck, and he somehow didn't know about Calyx, and I was like, dude, Calyx, you've never been dumpstered on Calyx on Arena?
Yeah.
How? I have been wrecked by that.
All right. So that was Aftermath.
I agree. I agree with both of you. I think the overall experience of opening those packs is terrible, but I think it is cool. I think it's just an interesting like thought experiment for Wizards too. It's just like, what is it like when we kind of change the mentality that we build this set with?
I like when they try new things.
Yeah. I think it's like if they can somehow do this in the future in a way that it feels better on the wallet to get less stuff. Because like at the end of the day, that's the downside is you do like the overall quality of what you get is higher, but at the end of the day, it is less stuff that is still expensive.
Super feels bad.
And it just overall feels bad. So Wizards, I like your idea, but maybe work on your execution.
Totally.
There's a potential that this kind of style is going to be what the Beyond boosters are going to be. Like we talked about this before, that Assassin's Creed is coming up later this upcoming year. It's very possible that those boosters are going to be like Aftermath. So,
and I think
we'll see if they improve.
That is like the ideal environment for this stuff.
100%.
Because with like universes beyond anything, you already have so many established important characters that they need to be a good card.
Yeah, I will miss if they stop doing collector boosters for the Universes Beyond stuff, because we'll get to Doctor Who in a second, but the Doctor Who collector boosters was one of my favorite booster experiences this year.
Really?
So we'll get there, but we need to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This video is going to be like 8 million years long.
Yeah.
No.
We're about to talk about maybe one of the heaviest hitters of the year. We're spending way too much time on Aftermath, and we're talking about Lord of the Rings.
Yep, let's continue on the let's continue on the Universes Beyond train then with Magic the Gathering, Universes Beyond, Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle Earth.
Baby.
He got that thing on it.
I got that drap.
You got it. So, the first full booster set release of the Universes Beyond product featuring characters, locations, and events spanning the events of the Lord of the Rings franchise. Included in with this marketing as well was that I cannot believe they even pulled this stunt of the 1-of-1 serialized.
Woo! That was I think the biggest Magic moment of the decade.
Yes.
Probably. Like,
yeah.
People who I didn't even know people who did not know what Magic was were texting me and being like, what is going on with this?
Wow.
Like, my father-in-law was texting me about, like, did you hear about this? I was like, what on earth is happening?
It is crazy.
The whole story arc of the 1-of-1 where, like, it actually got pulled on pre-release day.
That's so cool.
And, like, ended up taking 2 or 3 weeks to get lawyered up and everything. And now Post Malone has it. It's a whole thing.
So
it is
stoked that
absurd.
Posty got it. So stoked.
It's absurd, but that is the rarest card in the game now, like unequivocally. There is no other card in the game that only has one, or sorry, I guess I should preface this as like it's the rarest of like a version of a card. Like obviously you could go out and buy the One Ring itself, but that version of it,
yes, the serialized,
effectively makes it the rarest card in the game, like above anything else that has ever been printed.
Real quick, do you guys know what it sold for? Jared?
Over 2 million.
John?
I was gonna say, I think it was 2.6, wasn't it?
It was $2.6 million. With an M. Million. Insane.
Crazy.
Absolutely absurd. But
it's shiny cardboard.
Dude, that's just life though.
But so
ascribe value.
Outside of the serialized 1-of-1 though, we had a full booster product as well.
Yeah.
I feel like
this took the place of Modern Masters, right?
Like a Modern Horizons.
Modern Horizons, yes. So it was direct to Modern, injected right past standard. This was unbelievable.
Something I think Wizards should do is start their naming conventions. Like they should just try a little harder to make them
100%.
less similar.
They actually recognize that.
Because you keep saying things and I'm like, I think I know what you're talking about, but It also might be a different thing that I think could also be what you're talking about.
Yeah. They talk about that a lot because they're like Legend, like the Baldur's Gate set a few years ago. They were like, we should have just called that Baldur's Gate. That shouldn't have been Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. Like,
yes. Thank you.
Anyway, Lord of the Rings was unbelievable. It's still going. There's new product that is still in the store currently. This is the highest selling Magic product of all time. We have to talk about the One Ring as a card.
Oh my gosh.
As a functional card.
When you brought up like best card of the year, I was like, I think he's thinking about One Ring.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it's, if we're talking about what card made the most impact in the game this year, it has to be the One Ring.
I'm curious, John, I want to hear your thoughts on this because I have maybe a hot take, but I want to hear what you say first. Because I think I agree with you in part, but also slightly disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of in the middle as well. It's obviously it's very apparent that, especially on like 60 card formats and arena stuff like that, the One Ring has definitely made its mark. Between myself and my wife, we own one copy of it, and at our card store, and at our card store at our card store as well, that we play a lot of Paper Commander as well. Never seen it.
Wow.
No one's playing it.
Have you ever played it?
It's not my copy; it's hers. So
just trust me. Slot it into a deck. The first time that it hits the field, give me a call. You tell me how that feels.
I'll let you know. What
Tell me how it feels to go an entire turn cycle of protection from everything.
Yeah, that shouldn't have been on the
and
card.
then proceed to just draw a billion cards for a very negligible cost.
I totally.
It's
But
crazy.
like I said, I just gotta go out on a limb and say I can't really claim any knowledge of how it works as far as strictly as a Commander player because no one in my store plays it.
Yeah.
It's very fair. I think I encounter it on Arena every single game.
Yes.
So I think for people that do play Arena, we're probably a lot more aware of how powerful this card is.
Well, for better or for worse, they've made a shell of a deck that the One Ring just pumped unbelievable amount of gasoline into.
Yeah.
With which we didn't talk about Shieldred when we were talking about that was All Will Be One, right?
That was Dominaria United last year.
Okay. That's why we didn't talk about Shieldred. So that card is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it, with the One Ring, negates the cost of it. Because every time you draw a card, you gain 2 life. And then functionally with the One Ring, every time that you draw a card with it, you lose a life.
Yeah.
So it actually means that every time you activate the ring, you gain a life.
Which is stupid. That's the only part of that makes that card balanced
100%.
at all.
And then we'll talk later too about Beseech the Mirror as a card where you can just sack your One Ring and then go and cast another one.
That's the dumbest thing
So
ever.
like they made this cast trigger on it of giving you protection.
Yes. Which it doesn't need that.
Does not need that.
They should not have.
No.
No. Dude, I have
Certainly doesn't.
won games because on Arena, it's kind of easy to miss.
Totally.
Because
easy
it's
to
just
miss.
like
it's a little box on the side of the screen.
Yeah. And like I have cast my own One Ring and then had an opponent just swing out at me and then I just destroy them next turn because they
because
forgot.
you don't block.
Yeah.
No.
They just forgot I had it.
It I don't know whether it's good or bad design. Honestly, it's the most thematic card where it's like it's so powerful that it's like, is it good? Is it bad? Is it healthy? Like to use it? Is it maybe just once?
So
like, maybe I'll just put it in one of my decks. Like maybe I'll just it could
Why
nothing could go
shouldn't I
wrong,
keep
right?
it?
Why shouldn't I keep it?
I should. Oh, dude.
I'm saying, dude, it's perfect. It's a perfect card.
Are you going to end up at a volcano soon?
I am. Yeah, the fires of Mount
Our
Doom.
next episode is a vlog. Of
I'm on location at Mount Doom.
the first part of our mission is we have to go and meet up with John, and then we have to go to Yellowstone.
To throw it in Old Faithful?
Yeah.
That's so good.
God.
No, all in all, I think. Oh, go ahead, John.
No. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
So I think this card is incredibly powerful. It's so awesome. I'm a little bit okay with it. I think things that are like this card had to be strong because of what it means to like this card beyond anything else in this set or in this game that got released this year is like the most iconic thing that we can all kind of be like, yeah, I know that should be powerful.
Yeah.
And so I think people are kind of okay with the pushed element of this card.
Yeah. I mean, it's mega divisive. You either love it or you hate it.
And it came out in the same set of cards as Mirkwood Bats.
Sure did.
And Orcish Bowmasters. So to me,
that's in the top 3 as well. To me, the top 3 cards this year, 2 of them are from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Bowmasters and the One Ring.
Yeah.
Bowmasters is ridiculous.
Oh, it's
that I think
card.
is wrong.
Yeah.
I think the One Ring, because it cost 4, is like, when you get it, you get it. But Bowmasters is wrong. That is a functional.
Bowmasters should not have flash.
No,
that shouldn't be on it.
To be triggered.
No.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was it.
Also, there's kind of a catch-22 here with this being the highest selling set and them continuing to sell more product.
Yeah.
They're not going to ban either the One Ring or Bowmasters.
No.
Because it would tank sales of their product. So this comes back to Magic is not a game that necessarily cares about the health of its format anymore. It does care about propping up Hasbro, which this is functionally doing.
Yeah.
This is the actual critique of Wizards to me is like, hey, it's totally fine if you print ridiculously powerful things. maybe keep an eye on them every once in a while.
Because you're
And don't just keep printing.
the downside of you having to make money is you only make money if people want to play your game.
Totally.
So
Yeah, there's diminishing
That's
returns
fair.
to something.
protect your game.
But the commander decks from Lord of the Rings were also unbelievable.
Yeah. I love
they were-
everything about this set is great. I think I would be inclined to say I think Orcish Bowmasters is the strongest card of the year. Because I think we all saw the One Ring and we're like, yeah, that's really strong. But people literally were panicking when
Yes.
they were like, what? Like Orcish Bowmasters, Mirkwood Bats, like those people were trying to get them banned before we could ever play the card.
Here is my argument.
Yeah,
As to
I
why
would love
the
to
One
hear it.
Ring is the most powerful card of the year over Orcish Bowmasters.
Got you.
What decks can you put Orcish Bowmasters in?
Decks that have black.
Right. What deck can you put the One Ring in?
Every single one.
Every single one.
You're right. You're right.
It is
I like that train of thought.
4 times as good as Bowmasters, I would say.
Yeah, that logic checks out. You can play it in everything, so that makes it better.
There's zero restriction on
Yeah.
Bowmasters. I have it in a white-red deck.
It's Teferi's protection too, basically. Like it's colorless Teferi's protection that is even better than Teferi's protection.
Mm-hmm.
So it's strong. I'll contend to that.
All right.
I think the One Ring rules them all.
Yeah, John? Agree,
It does
disagree?
rule- Yeah. I mean, it sounds. I agree with you. Yeah. I mean, when a colorless thing is designed in such a strong and powerful means that there's almost next to no downside of including it in almost anything, then yeah, that's the kind of stuff to watch out for. But
It's easily the best card draw spell that white has ever gotten.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like,
And red, you don't
And
have to
green.
get rid of the card afterward
yes.
or discard a card to
That's
get
what I'm
the card.
saying. It's
Mhm.
like maybe in blue decks, like it's not quite as good as Ristic Study.
Yeah.
But in every other color where you can't play Ristic Study, it is equally as good.
I don't think I mentioned it. Though Lord of the Rings came out on June 23rd. We now move into August 4th. Commander Masters.
Mm.
This
We should have loved this set.
Should have.
We should have, but I think just being a Masters product and it pushing that Masters product price point, not even necessarily propped up on Mythics this time either. It's
Nope.
just like there was nothing.
It was bad. This was a bad set.
They're
Like
like,
cost twice as much as every other set this year.
let's release the best set we've ever made and then release one
Yeah.
of the most unthought about sets that we've ever
100%.
Yeah, and it's such a shame because this kind of product is also, we talked about these as well. They came with new pre-con decks that had some new card designs in them, and some of those individual designs were stand out and they were very cool things. But in decks that are still to this day selling at $80, $90, $100 each.
The reprint value on those is actually one of the worst. When you consider the cost, it's like the Command Zone does a really cool
Shout out
cost
Command
analysis.
Zone.
Shout out Command Zone. Shout out Rachel Weeks.
They're actually amazing.
Yeah. So she does a really cool cost analysis on precons where it's like for every dollar you put into it, kind of what are you getting back on reprints? And with the Lord of the Rings ones, it was like $3. For every dollar you put in, you'd basically get $3 of reprints back.
Stonks.
For the mega stonks.
Stop.
For the Commander Masters ones, it was like for every dollar you put in, it was functionally worth like $1.15. So unbelievably bad.
Yikes.
Granted, there was new cards in them that were selling for some money at some point. I don't think that they're as expensive as they were. Zuladoc was really cool. This was their first colorless precon. They called it Eldrazi precon for some reason, even though there was like 4 Eldrazi in the deck. It was just such a flop. Like,
It wasn't good.
I think that they were just testing to see whether we were actually paying attention or not.
Yeah.
It was like they did a magic trick where they gave us the Lord of the Rings set, and then at the very last second swapped it out for something, and they're like, "Do you want to pay twice as much for this too?" And we're like, "No, we don't want that."
Like, everyone is riding the coattails of the awesomeness that we just did.
Yes,
And
totally.
maybe they'll just be like having a good time at the LGS and throw down a couple packs of Commander Masters.
Which I did and regretted it
Yep.
every time.
Yeah,
And
I've
stopped.
only I've only had a few successful ones of those as well, right? I think the best thing I've cracked from Commander Masters was a doubling season. That's it.
I don't know if I bought any of these. That would be on brand for me to have not.
That's true.
So
Also, like, this is the year of they're going to reprint a card like 3 sets in a row. Because like you said, like doubling season was one of the things that propped up Commander Masters. And then as soon as we talk about the next set, it also had doubling season in it. Like
doubling season, land tax, necropotence, those were all,
They've squeezed the reprint value of everything that is not the ban or not the reserved list.
which I do love. I love that.
Yeah, I want to play with cool cards. Like I'm happy that the cost of things has gone down quite a bit by them reprinting it.
Doubling
but it also is
becomes
like
a playable card when it's not $80. Because otherwise it's not a good enough card.
right. You know how I feel about 4 and 5 cost things that do nothing on their own, but
Exactly.
My favorite flavor.
is your favorite flavor.
5 mana do nothing.
Yes. The only thing better than 4 mana do nothing is 5 mana do nothing.
All right. Well, we don't have to linger on Commander Masters too much because I mean, you two
Do we
are obviously
have a favorite card from any of like the new sets from the pre-cons?
No.
Guff rewrites history. That's my favorite.
I don't even know what that
It's like
does.
mass chaos warp.
Oh, that's kind
It's
of
like chaos warp for all of your opponents, and even maybe yourself.
That's kind of cool.
Maybe yourself.
yeah, you can hit yourself with that. Yes.
Nice.
I would say for myself, just for flavor, just probably Rise of the Eldrazi, the card. It's such cool. It's so
it's
cool.
It's just the cast trigger from all 3 of the original Titans. They're like, we're not going to give you the original Titans, but how about if we gave you their cast trigger?
How about a spell?
Right.
That one's cool. And then obviously, like, I'm a sliver person, so for me, all the slivers were a hit. Personally, you know, I bought that deck, I upgraded it. It's been a lot of fun to play. It honestly, it wins out of nowhere. It's so cool how it works. Grave Mother is incredibly strong. If you just play your early to mid game just normal as is, get Grave Mother down and just like, whoops, here they all are back.
You accidentally win the game, just like that.
Yep. Accidentally win the game. So
yep.
I don't think we have to talk about this much more. We covered most all of it in our own episode. So
they knew that they did wrong with this one.
In an effort to keep people from accidentally winning the game, here's another August BNR update.
Yeah. So
nice. Dude.
Thanks. This here is going to shows the BNR update itself, but then a bunch of other stuff also just kind of happened generally between Commander Masters and Wild of the Drain. So I'll just cover that stuff real briefly. Before this BNR update was the big 30th anniversary future announcement stream. It was going to cover all the other products that are coming out over the next year, and then the following 2.5 years past that point. We're not going to cover that kind of stuff now. We have a whole video about it. Go watch it. It's great. But we got to see the future a little bit of like what kind of products we have upcoming. August 7th was another BNR update, but this one was actually nothing got banned. This was a BNR update that things got unbanned. This was Preordained for Modern and Mind's Desire for Legacy, both unbanned.
Kind of sick.
I don't really know what impact those had because those are not formats that I play.
Same,
but
no idea.
Good for them, though, right?
That's
Preordained.
Good for them.
Preordained, I think, has been on the modern ban list since its induction, I think. So it's good to see it. Good to see it back here.
A good one.
Well, then, I said for you, though, Joseph, though, for the upcoming, this was announced when they were being previewed here. Pre-ban for Historic from the Wilds of Eldraine Enchanted Tales. Blood Moon, Intruder Alarm, Land Tax, Necropotence, Sneak Attack, and Spreading Seas.
Yeah, all of it. And it was great. I'm a big fan of pre-bans. I love when they're like, hey, this is going to be horrible.
Let's just get that out of the way.
You can have these for Brawl on Arena, but don't have these anywhere else. Also, I'm so glad they did all these pre-bans and then introduced Timeless, where they were like, there is no bans. Here you guys go.
Enjoy your Blood Moon.
Here's a playground for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And enjoy Blood Moon. I do.
Oof. Wow. A rare Blood Moon enjoyer.
The last notable thing just before we move on into Wilds of Eldraine is, unfortunately, just the day before Wilds of Eldraine came out, we did lose Sheldon Menery this year.
Yeah. One of
the heads of the Commander format, a very prominent figure, huge respect. Unfortunately, we did lose him this year, so
R.I.P.
worth talking about. But pour one out for the homies.
Absolutely.
Wilds of Eldraine, though. September 8th, Wilds of Eldraine.
Another slapper this year.
Yeah, very cool set.
The standard sets this year have been great, honestly.
Yes.
I do remember when we filmed this episode talking about this set, we were both I said all of us were a little bit like coming off of the high of Lord of the Rings, so it didn't hit quite as hard when it came out.
Yeah.
But I think I've been enjoying these cards more as I get to play with them.
Same.
So yeah.
Yeah. This was Wilds of Eldraine on a personal level is where I kind of started getting really back into drafting. So I like hit drafting really hard with Wilds of Eldraine, and it was just a very cool set. I thought this celebration was one of my favorite mechanics in the last little bit. Something that cares about you having two things entering a turn is like, oh, I'm getting rewarded for building a board state.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
I don't want to have to work extra hard for something.
That's funny. You must have changed your opinion on that, because I remember from the podcast episode you said that Celebration was bad.
Yeah. Opinions changed. Completely changed. I like it. I really only like it in the environment of drafting Wilds of Eldraine.
I was about to say I've had more fun as I've been drafting this set too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like it there. I don't think I've personally bought any of the paper stuff from this set though.
I have, and standouts for me have been the Gruff triplets. Have you guys played with Gruff triplets?
Is it a legendary card?
No.
No,
Dang
it's
it.
just a normal one.
It's so cool.
I like
Six
should
mana.
I make a triplet deck?
You should, dude. You are one of the Gruff triplets.
I'm a real life gruff triplet.
Some Jared lore dropping. So it's 3 green for a 3/3 that when it enters makes 2 copies of itself, 2 token copies of itself. And if any of them die, so that the text on it is like, if this creature dies, you put a number of counters equal to its power onto another Gruff triplet.
Oh.
So it like comes down, you have 9 power, and then if any of them die, it just kind of shifts onto the other one. So like, my favorite thing to do is to play this with doubling season.
Yeah,
so you go like turn 5 doubling season, turn 6 Gruff triplets, and then you just make 6 triplets. And if any of them die, it puts twice its power onto another one.
John, can you make duplicates of me right now? Can you make clones? Is that
Look it out of the frame. Here you go. It's the all right, that was long enough. That was the Jared triplets. John, take it away. How did you feel about Wilds of Eldraine?
No, it was super cool. Yeah, the whole Enchanted Tales bonus sheet as well. I've gone on record to say that before. That like, other than like maybe just like a 1 or 2 of them here or there sprinkled through, the entire hit was especially in Commander bangers. You know, stuff that you would put naturally in everything from. At the uncommon rarity, things like Garrett's Uprising, Impact Tremors. Honestly, even Spreading Seas isn't that bad if you're doing like an Enchantress like thing. You know what I mean?
Playing Land Destruction and Timeless.
If you play Land Destruction, yeah. You know, some of the stuff at Rare as well. You know, obviously it was like very propped up on the Mythic enchantments as well, but like all of them, no matter
doubling season, the goodies.
Great. Yep, Greater Oromancy, Bitter Blossom, stuff like that. But yeah, having some really cool new art, both in like storybook style and anime art of very popular and played enchantments was super cool. The set as a whole, like the main booster set for like Commander stuff, it was okay. And I'm not a drafter like you are. I don't get the opportunity to do that as often. I pretty much strictly look at sets as far as like, how can I build this into Commander play? And there were definitely some good hits, but as for me as a whole, it was kind of average, I think.
I think the reprints for this set were amazing for Commander, but it was a little bit tougher to integrate.
Yeah.
It's not that there wasn't cool cards. You got stuff like Agatha Soul Cauldron, Moonshaker Cavalry,
yeah,
I did the Soul Cauldron, dude. It's funny. I was mega high on Moonshaker Cavalry. I haven't cast it once this year since it came out. I have not cared about Moonshaker Cavalry since it came out. But Agatha Soul Cauldron, I'm like, every single time, I'm like, oh, baby.
Wow.
There's just cooler and cooler things as like more creatures with cool activated abilities come out. Also, it's just great. I'm a huge fan of Graveyard Hate being colorless. Like, you can play it in basically anything and just go, like, snag your thing with flashback.
Yeah.
Like, great. got it. And then later on, you're like, snag your, I don't know, Birds of Paradise. And now my creature is also a Birds of Paradise. Agatha Soul Cauldron is so sick. That's such a cool card.
Yeah. But it was very...
It was good this year. I'm realizing how good. We haven't even talked about some of the cooler bits
well,
yet.
Let's move on to probably the big Commander hit of this year, though, talking about Commander players eating good. October 13th, Universes Beyond Doctor Who.
Yes. John, link real quick our first Thought Clash episode where we did a gameplay of the 4 Doctor Who decks against each other. That can
with the plane chase.
With plane chase, yeah, that can kind of speak a lot for itself.
That definitely been watching that video a couple times now. I realize how much the plane chase influenced the tide of that game. Right?
Yes.
You guys stuck on that Hotel of Horrors for so freaking long and having like
so
6 to 5 turns of being stuck on a Dark Confidant is absurd. How much that changed the course of that game.
Yes.
Yep. With a wound reflection out.
So you guys should watch that. That's the hardest we've ever had to work on any video.
It's true. Go watch that one.
If you want us to do any videos like that in the future, make it worth it.
100%. Go watch it.
But what did you two think of these? Like, as people who have been playing the decks,
some of my favorite decks are Doctor Who. I completely switched one of my commanders out for the War Doctor. So my Boros Blink deck is now the War Doctor, and it functionally was pretty similar, and I got to actually add in some cooler things like Rest in Peace.
I think it's a better deck now.
It is. Well, it's less obvious what it is now, like because it used to be Abdel Adrian, which was just I'm gonna cast it, exile a bunch of my stuff, and now I can kind of just keep cycling through them. And now it's like this kind of cool, like I sort of have to like play the War Doctor, hand him the football, and then protect him.
Yeah.
Like everything is just going to protect him while he rushes down the field.
That's so true.
It's so fun. So like I've loved that. The Suspend deck is one of my favorite decks to play.
That's the one I played in the game we recorded.
No, you played Paradox.
Oh, that's right.
That was Timur Paradox, which is...
I ended up playing a Suspend deck, though, in the gameplay video, basically.
Well, there's a lot of Suspend in that deck.
Yeah. I felt like I was playing a Suspend deck.
Yeah. The absolute freight train that is Rose Tyler. You slap her down and just keep playing Suspend things, and by turn 4, you've got like a 10/10 that's coming at people.
As a good player once said, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly goodness.
That's true. That was Chase. So that one was great. The Davros, the Dalek deck is also...
That thing is pure gasoline.
God, dude, it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Villainous Choice, so good. I think my favorite card from the set is Ensnared by the Mara, which you can link somewhere.
Yeah.
So freaking good. It's a novel. I would try to recite it, but it is actually a novel. No, I think I can recite it.
Oh,
all right.
yeah.
Oracle, quiz me here. 2 red for a sorcery. Each opponent faces a villainous choice to either flip to a non-land that you get to cast for free. I'm paraphrasing. Or they mill 4 and take damage equal to the total converted mana cost of cards milled.
Yes.
Very close, but yes.
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing. That's functionally what it does, which is so unbelievably sick.
Yeah, it's so strong.
Love that.
You have destroyed me with that card a couple times.
It's like, do I want to take, I don't know, 20 damage, or do I want to just give you a free card? Both are bad.
Yeah, you got to pick sometimes.
Loved Lord of the Rings. Loved Doctor Who.
Love both. Universes Beyond was hot this year.
To be fair, this was only Commander decks.
Yes.
I was going to talk about the collector boosters.
Yeah, go for it.
Guys, they reprinted such unbelievable lands in this set. They reprinted the Modern Horizon like Fiery Islet lands that are like you pay for either, of the colors, but then you can just pay 1 and sacrifice it to draw a card.
Horizon lands, I think those are called, because they come off of Canopy, Horizon Canopy, I believe.
Horizon
Canopy,
the cycle. And then we're in Modern Horizons is where they were printed. So good. If you get the collector boosters, also, like, I opened a booster and it was basically the first 6 doctors was like the whole first. There's so many rares in this set that, like, the collector boosters are basically just packs of rares.
It's just packs, yeah.
It's so cool. So good. We love it. Your brother
Didn't we,
opened serialized, Doctor?
Yes, I was
the first person that I know who's opened something that's serialized.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Did you not
shout
see
out
that,
Chase.
Jared?
I did not.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah,
he
he
post
shared-
that in the Discord?
He shared it on our Discord. Yeah, he opened. What number was his? It was
187, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
511. It was the 11th Doctor.
Wow.
yeah.
Check out the
So
Discord, everybody.
Shout
Yeah,
out the
you could-
Discord.
we got a serialized pull in our group. That's so
I'm
cool.
saying, it was so sick.
Heck yes. Heck yes.
Yeah, Doctor Who was amazing. I think the Doctor Who decks will age very well
Mhm.
too. They as I play them more and as I dig more into the set, there is just something for every deck. Like I have basically found Doctor Who cards to add to all of my decks.
That's how you know it's a good set.
Very cool. Very cool.
Let's
So let's
move it
continue.
on.
Yep, let's
Yeah.
continue on then. Just a couple quick ones we can blaze through real fast before we move on to the next main booster set. On October 16th was the announcement of the play boosters that are coming with Murders at Karlov Manor at the beginning of this upcoming year.
It's hard to tell how I feel about this yet because it hasn't happened as of recording this. I need to get a few drafts in with the play boosters before I decide whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
I think as a pre-release enjoyer, it's going to make pre-release a lot worse because sealed is already like who has the best bombs. So now it becomes who has the best bombs and whose packs had the most rares in it. With the draftable packs containing up to 4 rare slots, you could get 4 mythics in a pack, which is like more than you would get in some pre-releases total. Like, so I'm not a believer in the play boosters yet. I also just love set boosters. So as far as a buying experience, like I basically only buy set boosters or collector boosters. So that hasn't really changed much for me. Like the play boosters are basically set boosters that they've decided to make draftable, except you don't get the commander cards in them. And that's such a bummer. That was like my favorite part of the set boosters was the one like wacky commander card that you would get in it. Like in the Wilds of Eldraine one, I pulled like Court of not Arndale. That's
Which color?
it was the white court.
Ardenvale. Yep, you're right. Court of Ardenvale.
Court of Ardenvale, which is like, there was like these cool little things. It was like, oh, I've never even heard of this card before. Little wacky includes that are not going to be a part of the play boosters. So I rip that. Now you can only get those in the collector boosters.
To be determined on how we feel on this.
100%. Let's move on.
Yep. Again, and we can also just skim through this one real fast. The holiday re-release of Lord of the Rings, right? So it was a new release of a collector booster. Came with those scene kit box kits.
The scene kits is the interesting one. I have shifty eyes at Wizards about the scene kits. I don't want to see any more of those. I think they were a little cool. I think the Legolas one was very cool. And I don't want to see any more of it.
Yeah.
I
I agree.
The Lost Caverns of Ixalan, though.
The lost episode of us talking about the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. I'm a huge fan of this set. This is so cool. I like, from a draft perspective, it's got a really weird draft environment that I like a lot. I know a lot of people don't like the draft environment for it, but it's the quickest that I've ever ranked up in a draft environment. So it just, something about this set clicks for me. I like that it's mega playable from 1-drops onward in draft. Also like dinosaurs.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think I've briefly touched on how I used to hate that dinosaurs were part of this. And then I realized that dinosaurs are cool again.
100%.
And
4-year-olds have it right. Dinosaurs are cool.
Dude. Yes.
I have adult dinosaur sheets on my bed
Yes, dude.
that I share with my wife. We love our dinosaur sheets.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Find more opportunities to put dinosaurs in your life, and I promise you will experience more joy.
Dude, John, you get it.
John gets it.
Yeah, we got it.
Big Lizard's Unga Bunga Brain. I don't mean to keep harping on Unga Bunga Brain every episode that we do. It's like a speed run of how quickly can Joseph get to Unga Bunga Smooth Brain.
John, is that Zakama over there that you got?
No, this is Galta that Carissa painted.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Shout out Carissa.
So sick. Yeah, I love this set. I think it's really cool.
Yes. Discover was a mistake.
Was it?
It was a mistake.
Dang.
Yeah,
They tried to fix Cascade, but made it better.
yeah, we'll discuss one of those cards when we talk about the BNR update after this set. But yeah, Discover was cool. The artifact sub theme that was part of this. Honestly, the whole the set as well. It felt so uniquely different than the original Ixalan. The whole Mesoamerican theme and Journey to the Center of the Earth kind of vibes. But then you also still had your familiar friends in here, like dinosaurs and pirates and merfolk and things of that nature. Conquistador vampires and all that stuff, is Ixalan at its core, but with a whole extra twist of added synergies and styles and themes. It was very fun. I really enjoyed playing a little bit of this set.
Yeah.
This set overall feels like they hit the nail on the head of combining the way a Universes Beyond set feels and Magic together.
Yes.
I don't know how they did that.
Totally.
But that's A+ on this set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The theme, this was one of I think the best themed set this year. Also, the world wasn't ending. And I am the opposite of you, John. I don't like the Avengers moments. I feel like they're a little too over the top. So I like when there's something a little plain as our favorite elephant planeswalker is just trying to find some cool shit.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm with you on that. I love the big end of the world cataclysmic events, but when they happen every year, they kind of lose the intensity. So I love the little small stories that make the whole world feel bigger.
Totally.
Exactly. Yeah.
Excellent.
And man,
what
a
Saheeli and Swat and Huatli, I loved that.
Dinobots.
Dinobots. Come on. The Jurassic Park stuff is very cool too in the boosters.
Mm-hmm.
Loved that.
Super cool.
Standout cards that I loved from it.
Well,
outside of Discover as a whole,
yeah, what a set for Commander though as well. This was a standard set that definitely had the best. As compared to Wilds of Eldraine, there was tons of things within the main booster set itself. Plus the Commander decks that came out with this as well. What great Commander hits! Those are fantastic decks.
Oh, they're the best precons I think that we've ever gotten.
Yeah,
from a standard set at least.
I've been trying to find these precons for 2 straight months.
Yeah,
in person. Really annoying. So yeah.
But yeah, but even as part of from the main set as well, Commander All-Stars, we got Cavern of Souls just in the set as is.
Ooh, yeah.
Cavern of Souls, Growing Rights of Itlamok, the reprint of Gishath's Son's Avatar, Roaming Throne, and all of those new mythic O'Hares.
All the O'Hares are very good.
Dude, oh my gosh. The red O'Hare on Arena is just a force. Oh my gosh. I honestly, as a red burn player, I love that. I think they should ban that card on Historic and Arena.
I disagree. I think it's a kill on site commander for sure.
Yeah.
But
when you just die accidentally to the most mundane thing, it gets annoying.
Yeah. This set I think is definitely up there. If not tied, just a notch below for me for March of the Machine set of the year. This one is phenomenal.
Yes. Anybody have favorite cards from this set?
No favorite cards, but overall, I just love this set.
Nice.
I think it's great. What about you? Favorite card?
John, real quick.
I guess I just haven't really opened enough of it to really have a justifiable favorite so far.
Thousand Moon Smithy.
You want to tell us what that does?
Yeah. I'm going to try. It's
I got it. I know it if you don't.
2 white and a white for a artifact. That when it enters, it makes you essentially a construct where it's its power and toughness is equal to the number of creatures and or artifacts you control. So if you have nothing else on the board, it comes in and makes you a 2/2 that just gets bigger the more artifacts and creatures you play. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you could tap 5 untapped creatures and or artifacts that you control to flip it into a land that taps for white. And if that white mana gets used on a creature or an artifact spell, it makes you another one of those constructs. So it's
absurd.
Such gas. It's a huge setup, but it's such a cool, man, I love it.
That's awesome.
Also, the Wanderglyph, whatever it's called, Unstable Wanderglyph.
Unstable, yeah.
One of my favorite board wipes this year.
I'm not familiar with that one either.
It's 5 mana artifact, 3 white white. If you cast it when it enters, I've learned this the hard way. It's not repeatable. If you cast it when it enters, you choose a creature that each player controls with power 2 or less, destroy the rest.
Oh,
So if an opponent doesn't have anything with 2 or less power, it just wipes their board. And then you can craft it with an artifact for some amount of mana. And it turns into a 5/4 flyer that it basically says if your opponent has cast a spell, they can't attack you. And if your opponent,
it's that Archon Triumvirate, but
and if an opponent has attacked you, they can't cast spells.
Dude, oh my god,
it makes them decide between attacking you or casting spells. So cool, love it.
It's very nutty. Yeah,
Big
it's
fan.
very good.
I still really enjoy Lost Caverns of Ixalan. I'm still enjoying it to this day. This is my preferred draft on Arena as of recording right now. Is the premier draft Lost Caverns.
That's so sick.
Love that. All right. Well, let's move on to the closeout of the year again. And this would be stuff that has basically just happened as time of recording comes. On December 4th, there was a banner restricted update covering all kinds of stuff. Karn the Great Creator and Geological Appraiser just printed in Lost Caverns of Ixalan. This is one of the fastest bans that has ever happened. Not the fastest, but definitely a fast one.
Yeah.
Karn and Geological Appraiser both banned in Explorer and Pioneer.
Geo Appraiser was crazy. I don't know if either of you have played against that deck.
No.
It's a 1-card combo.
It got banned before I could even play that out.
Yep. I still play Discover in Pioneer. But you have to do the 5 mana. You have to do Quintorius Con and the
Loans
and the Trumpeting Carnosaur.
Mm-hmm.
So Geological Appraiser, the way the deck worked is you would just cast it, and then it would flip into either Eldritch Evolution, which would get it up to Trumpeting Carnosaur, or it would find you clones. So you would just get clones of the thing until you Eldritch Evolution into Trumpeting Carnosaurs, which then get clones of that until you get Eldritch Evolution up into some giant from Kaldheim that gave everything 1/0 haste and then swing out. So it was like turn 4. Actually turn 3, because you're playing all the things that discard to make treasure. So it typically was like turn 3, I cast Geological Appraiser and win the game.
Oh my god.
It was nutty.
That's very silly, very silly.
Yeah. Glad that got banned.
Yes.
Up the Beanstalk too. Glad that got banned.
Yeah, Fury and Up the Beanstalk banned in Modern.
My beans.
My beans. No, that makes sense. It's very weird Fury of the cycle of the Evoke Elementals and not...
It's weird because the reason they banned Fury is the reason they should ban
Grief?
Bowmasters.
Oh, yeah?
Grief is fine. Grief is the powerhouse of the deck, but Fury just completely blanks any creature strategies, which was their reason for banning Fury. And it should be their reason for banning Orcish Bowmasters, but they won't. So, bye, nice. Fury.
Yeah, and then listed on here as well with the upcoming release for Khans of Tarkir for Arena, they did pre-ban the fetch lands for Historic.
Yep.
But at that same time, introduced Timeless as a format,
which I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah,
big fan of Timeless. It's like playing Legacy and sort of like playing Vintage and sort of like playing Modern. It's very cool.
Wow, I need to check it out.
All right,
well, you can check it out in an upcoming video of me playing Timeless.
Hey. Yeah. Well, let's move on to the closeout of the year again. Pretty much the last big product release for the year. Again, it's an Arena release, though. Full Khans of Tarkir onto Arena. Joseph, you've done a little bit of draft of this, haven't you?
Yeah, I thought I would like it more. I like more modern. Khans of Tarkir is like regarded as one of the best draft environments because basically everything's viable. Like there are vanilla creatures that are viable. But it reminded me how much I dislike vanilla creatures.
Yeah, why would you play boring cards when you could play cards that do stuff?
Yeah. It's a real grind fest. Like, nothing really happens until turn 3 on most Khans drafts. You kind of play some tapped lands or whatever. There are a lot of things that I'm glad Khans brought to the table, like Delve. So we have like Dig Through Time, Hooting Mandrills. There's
Hoots
so many.
Magoots?
Hoots Magoots is back. Love that Delve is back. Love the fetch lands. big fan of the fetch lands. My boy, my absolute child, Siege Rhino.
Oh,
Is
you love a Siege Rhino.
I love a Siege Rhino.
Whew.
Back when John and I both started playing, this is kind of some John and I lore. Cons was like one of the first major releases outside of Theros. So it was like we kind of started around the Return to Ravnica block. Then there was Theros, and then there was Cons. And the standard deck that I was playing at the time with Cons was just how many times can I cast Siege Rhino? So it was just like you'd play the Mana Dork on turn 2, and then Rhino on turn 3, and then you would like blink it, or you would like play a clone or another Siege Rhino. I was personally playing it with Rally the Ancestors.
Oh,
yeah.
So like you would just play them, and then your opponent killed them. You're like, that's fine. And then you go like turn 6, Rally the Ancestors, X equals 4, and just get all of your Rhinos back for a turn.
Oh
yeah, I was also running a very fun standard deck at the time that was using Cons as a backbone as well. It was called Sidisi Whip back in the day. You would take
Sidisi Whip. Yes.
Yeah, you would do a Sidisi Brood Tyrant who cared a lot about having creature cards go to your graveyard, and you would make zombie tokens. And the other half of that deck comes from a legendary artifact enchantment from the Theros block, Whip of Erebos, which had an activated ability on it that essentially kind of did what finality counters do now on creatures, is that it brings a creature back from your graveyard and makes you sacrifice it, I believe, at end of turn. And if it would go anywhere else, it goes to exile instead. So you get a graveyard recursion for a turn. That was used very heavily on Sidisi Brood Tyrant herself, that would then stockpile you up on other zombies as herself and other creatures that you could then start whipping back with the Whip of Erebos, which also inadvertently just gave your creatures lifelink as well. So you were kind of playing this lifelink buffer deck while whipping back your creatures. Yeah, Sidisi, Torrent Elemental,
Whip.
Soul Flayer when Fate Reforged came out as well.
Yeah.
Loved it. It was one of my favorites.
Big fan of Cons. Glad it's back. Not a huge fan of the draft environment anymore. I don't know if it's held up as well.
Doesn't quite stand the test of time.
Nah.
Yeah.
But Morph is cool too. I like Morph.
You're a big Morph guy.
Big Morph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here we are, end of the year.
That was December 12th. At time of recording, it's December 18th.
All right.
Head into the holidays. Take a little break from recording for a bit.
Yeah.
Let's
family time.
Let's closing thoughts real quick between each of us. Favorite release of this year and top card of the year.
Yeah.
Pass priority.
Jared.
Oh boy, don't do this to me, boys. Where am I at here? Let me scroll back through what we talked about.
All right, well, I guess I'll just go ahead and jump in real quick. I think I said before, I will still stand by March of the Machine probably as my favorite of this year, right? It's such a fun. That's what I got out of it as well. Lost Caverns of Ixalan definitely was a favorite as far as the theme is concerned. March of the Machine was just fun, The big multiverse heroes fight the big alien bad guys. And, I said that before. I'm a big pop culture nerd. Big end of the world, multiverse crisis, bring in all your favorite heroes, ooh, look at this guy from that plane. Ooh, look at that guy from over there. You know what I mean? It did it for me. It was the right thing. It probably also holds a personal spot for me as well, because that was a pre-release I went undefeated as well.
True. Love that.
It gave birth to my textless Valley of the Get Wrong deck.
That thing is a nightmare. You also join our Discord and play with John on Spell Table and have him absolutely steamroll you with that thing.
It's so funny. I never had any intentions of actually building that deck, but then I acquired the card from going undefeated at pre-release. So I was like, I have to now,
Yeah. Dude, it's so strong. I think for me, the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth set is definitely the one for me as far as favorite set of cards to come out this year. Favorite card overall this year, though, I think City on Fire.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a hot take.
It's a spicy take.
Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Flames. Yeah.
Spicy. Missed it. Yeah. Oh, I don't think I gave a specific as far as the card. I was just talking about Valley of the Get Robbed, but that's not my favorite. If I had I don't know. I think for me, I think it's got to be Elish Norn, Mother of Machines for me personally.
So good.
Right? I'm
Such
a Blink.
a cool one.
Yeah, I'm a Blink boy at heart. You know,
We're both some Blink boys.
Yeah, I'm a Blink boy. Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, just being able to like doubling up your things and shutting down everybody else's. The amount of time that just halts a game for someone is just it's catastrophic.
It's hard to win through. It turns games around.
It's very hard to win through. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's got to be a standout highlight card for me this year.
Nice. I think my favorite release was the Doctor Who Commander decks. I was just so hyped about that. It brought me back to high school of like playing Magic and watching Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Which weird. I'm still doing. It's like revitalized it for me.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it got me to like rewatch Doctor Who.
Dude.
And it got me excited about it again. Yeah, so it just brought me back to like a really cool place. And I think my favorite card this year was Nahiri's Resolve.
Oh yeah, yours was Nahiri's.
It's to be Nahiri's Resolve. I'm obsessed with that card. It inspired my favorite deck now. Like, it's just so cool. It's such an underdog pick, but like it's my favorite card this year is Nahiri's Resolve. It's the card I've cast the most this year, probably.
Yeah,
because I was playing it in Standard for a while too.
Oh no way.
Yeah, Standard Nahiri's Resolve was sick.
Wow, that's awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I love that we started the Thoughtcast this year.
Yeah, guys, we started this whole thing this year, and it's grown quite a bit.
Yeah,
feeling great.
Yeah,
you know what? We're grateful for watching at home or on the Discord.
You guys rule.
Which is linked in the bio.
It's linked somewhere.
Guys, this was a hefty one.
Yeah,
but I'm glad we did it.
Yes,
I've been here with y'all. We should take a few weeks off.
Yeah,
from this.
Just spend some time with your loved ones.
It's the holidays.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys in the new year.
Yeah. Drop
new year,
your favorite
Thoughtcast.
favorite cards of the year in the comments so we can all talk about it and have a good time.
Yeah, just roast each other.
Yeah.
Relentlessly.
If you don't say my favorite card was Nahiri's Resolve, then Joseph is going to find you.
I'm going to bite you.
All right.
All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the new year. New year, same Thoughtcast. We'll be back. Ya boys. Catch you later.